Hey everyone, it's Leah from My Favorite Adventure, and I'm doing the Taylor Swift book tag. First of all, please excuse the mess around me. Right now, we have a tortoise habitat in the middle of my living room. We just bought a turtle last night because my husband Tyler wanted one, so we got a tortoise, and he's right here next to me. I'll insert a video here. Hey Kavar! What's up? And then I've just got a mess right here and it's just craziness. But yeah, so today I'm doing the Taylor Swift book tag, and my friend Faith from Life with Mrs. G and the Artist tagged me to do this quite a while ago, and I'm just getting around to it for my vlog prompt for the Vlogtember challenge, which I'm doing this month. Each question has a Taylor Swift song that goes with it. And I'll just get started because it'll make more sense. And the first one is We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. A book that you were in love with, then didn't like it, then liked it again, and then decided you were finally over it. This is a hard one for me. It was the last one that I ended up choosing because I couldn't figure it out. And I'm going to go ahead and choose Paddle Your Own Canoe by Nick Offerman. I'm a huge Parks and Rec fan. Like, I love that show. When The Office ended, which I'm still sad about, Parks and Rec was my go-to TV show to watch, and I love Ron Swanson. So I decided to pick up Nick Offerman's book because I know he's similar to his character in real life. I liked some of it. First I liked it, then I hated it because I'm like, it's autobiographical, but I don't like the format, and he goes over the top with some of the stories, and then I liked it again, and I'm like, you know what, after I was done reading it, I'm like, this just was not worth it. Like, it was a waste of my time. So that's my answer. Number 2, Red, a book with a red cover. The book I chose is Crazy Love by Frances Chan. I read this book in high school and then again in college, and I absolutely loved it. It is about love. It's about how God loves us relentlessly and how we need to act on that. And I actually should read it again because I think it's a good thing to read through books like this again after you've experienced more of life and gone through different seasons. So I'll have to read it again, but I recommend this one. Number 3, The Best Day, a book that makes you feel nostalgic. I'm going to be kind of cliche with this one and say Harry Potter. I love these books. I have read them over 24 times. I read them every year, and I've read them multiple times a year. The books were coming out when I was a kid, so they really bring back a lot of memories for me. They really instilled a love of reading for me, and every time I read them I just feel really nostalgic. Number 4, Love Story, a book with a forbidden love. My choice for this one is Atonement by Ian McEwan, and I love this book. I think I saw the movie first. Yeah, I saw the movie first with, what's her name? Is that Keira Knightley? I can never remember their names. Yeah, it's with Keira Knightley, and it's an excellent movie. Stays very true to the book, but the main character falls in love with a young man that is of a lower class than her, and she gets caught with him in the library by her younger sister, who's I think 11 or 12, and basically she tattles on her, and then the boy gets sent away and he's in war, and it's a super sad story, but I highly recommend you read it. It's a very interesting book, and if you don't want to read it, watch a movie because it's very true to the storyline. 5, I Knew You Were Trouble, a book with a bad character that you couldn't help but love. My choice for this one is The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult. Again, I'm obsessed with her. I own every single one of her books. And I don't buy books very often because they're so expensive, but I will gladly buy these right when they come out because I've loved every single one of her books. The Storyteller is about a young woman who befriends a very old man, and once she gets to know him, she finds out that he was a Nazi and worked in a concentration camp. And he's such a sweet old man, and he just is trying to move on with his life, and he's old and he's gonna die, and I won't tell anymore, but I loved him. I have such a thing for old people. I think they're so cute and they're so sweet, and I just had a really hard time. I had a really hard time not liking him. So that is my choice for that question. Everything Has Changed, a book where the protagonist goes through extensive character development. I chose The Signature of All Things by Elizabeth Gilbert. She wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and I love that one too. But I really enjoyed this book. I chose it because the protagonist, Alma, you meet her at a young age and you go through her entire life with her. So obviously a lot of character development happens, and I've read books like this before where they ended up being really boring, or they skipped over a lot of parts that I think should have been included, but this one I think did a really great job of showing the aging process and the growing up process and the maturing process. Yeah, I really recommend that one too. If you enjoy, it talks about moss a lot and science, but it's not science-y, if that makes sense. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a long book. Let's see how many pages it is. 500 pages, but I read this in a couple weeks. So yeah, I recommend that one. You Belong With Me, the most anticipated book of this year. I don't have a book to show for this one because I pre-ordered it and it's not here yet, but I'm going to say Mindy Kaling's new book, Why Not Me. I loved her first memoir. I think you call it a memoir. I don't know. I loved her first one, and I'm really excited for the second one. She's just so funny to me. I love the Mindy Project. She's so much like her character. Like, she bases her character a lot off of real life experiences, so she's so funny. I just love reading her words. I think if I listened to it, I'd probably like it more because she reads her audiobooks, but either way, Why Not Me by Mindy Kaling. Come Back Here, the book you are least likely to lend out for being afraid of losing it. I chose A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. This book came to me when I was in high school, when I was in, I think a sophomore. Yeah, a sophomore. And I was in a really interesting place with reading where I loved it, but I felt like I didn't have time for it, and my English teacher at the time, we had reading time every week. We would, on Fridays, the whole class period would just be for reading. And we had to choose books off of lists that she selected, but there was hundreds of books you could choose from. I have a hair in my mouth. And this is one of them, and she recommended it to me specifically after I asked her for a recommendation, and she said she thought I would really like it. So I bought that, and I've read it about 5 times since, so it's kind of beat up, and it's very precious to me. The book itself is semi-autobiographical about the author growing up in Brooklyn. She goes through a lot. Her family is dirt poor, and they go through a lot with death and with, stuff like that, and living in poverty, and she wants to be educated, but she doesn't really have the means to, and yeah, it's a very, I would call it a coming-of-age novel. It's one of my favorites of that genre, so yeah, I highly recommend it. Now, there's one more question that I couldn't figure out a book to, and it's Innocent, a book that someone ruined the ending for you. And I could not think of anything. Even when I was, reading Harry Potter, while they were coming out, I never had